Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have another crazy current events video for you guys, and this one is just outrageous, and one of the most outrageous stories that I've covered on this channel. And basically what has happened is, a few days ago, the PlayStation Terms of Service were changed in Hong Kong. And these new Terms of Service state that you cannot criticize the Chinese government, you cannot criticize the Chinese Communist Party, and you cannot acknowledge Hong Kong or Taiwanese independence. And normally I don't like talking about politics. I don't. This is a gaming channel after all. But everybody should be against this, because the Chinese government's censorship and their human rights violations are just outrageous. And the fact that they're constantly trying to interfere in things outside of China. And a perfect example of this is, remember when there was that BlizzCon tournament and the guy that won first place said free Hong Kong, and then Activision denied him his prize, and then they claimed that it had nothing to do with the Chinese government, when it had everything to do with the Chinese government. So here is this is a picture of the new policies that are on PlayStation Hong Kong, and I thought at first this might not be real because I wasn't able to find too many sources on this, but researching it I found out this is very much real. And in PlayStation in Hong Kong is in English, I believe, also. So we can read through this, and I'll have this article linked down below, and I'll also have the PlayStation terms, because there's also on PlayStation Hong Kong's website, you can also read the exact same thing. And without this picture, there's one other section that says for users with mainland China as a country area of residence. So if you are outside mainland China, you don't have to worry about this. This does not affect you, but it's still outrageous that something like this can happen. And regardless, whether this is in China or whether this is in Hong Kong, everybody should be against this. This is not right. Nobody should be going through stuff like this. So let's read through this right now. You may not use your account or use PSN in any way to create, reproduce, publish, or disseminate any information which opposes the basic principles in the Constitution of the People's Republic of China, the PRC, endangers the security of the PRC, divulges PRC state secrets, or jeopardizes the sovereignty and unification of the PRC. Now, do you know what the Chinese government claims as jeopardizing the sovereignty and unification of the PRC? If you simply state free Hong Kong, or if you say the country's name of Taiwan, that is considered violating the sovereignty of the PRC by the Chinese government. That is ridiculous. And for people that are unaware of what is going on in Hong Kong, a lot of people don't understand, is Hong Kong part of China? Technically, yes, but it's supposed to be an autonomous zone. So the background on Hong Kong is that Hong Kong was a British colony for many decades, and the British government signed a treaty with the Chinese government in 1984. And that treaty stated that they were going to give over Hong Kong to the Chinese government in 1997. In exchange, the Chinese government was supposed to recognize Hong Kong as an autonomous zone and respect free elections in Hong Kong, and the Chinese Communist Party was not supposed to interfere in there. And this is why Hong Kong has enjoyed a relatively higher amount of freedom than mainland China because of this. But ever since the last few years, the Chinese government has been increasingly trying to interfere in Hong Kong. And with these new laws that they're trying to enforce, the security law, the extradition law, they want to be able to extradite people from Hong Kong to be able to face the courts in the communist Chinese courts. The communist Chinese courts are very unfair. The Hong Kong courts are much more fair. And in Hong Kong, you're normally allowed to say what you want. Different political parties are allowed to run. This is versus China, in which China is a one-party state. They're a one-party authoritarian state, and the government of China, they claim that they are a democracy, but this isn't true. And they use the democracy basically to justify with a few political parties. They point to a few political parties in their parliament and they say, look, there's these other political parties here, we are a democracy. But the reality is, those few political parties that are in the parliament of mainland China, those political parties, they are given specific permission by the Chinese Communist Party to run. They need permission from them to run. And on top of that, they're all pretty much pro-Chinese Communist Party, and they have no real political power. So the party that controls pretty much everything is the Chinese Communist Party. Now, looking at Taiwan, why does the Chinese government hate Taiwan? During the Chinese Civil War, the Kuomintang, if I'm pronouncing them correctly, they were the ruling party of China before the Communist Party came into power. And this party was not a democracy. They were also an authoritarian state. And during the Chinese Civil War, when they lost mainland China to the communists, they actually fled to Taiwan. and they settled there, and then the Chinese Communist Party was never able to fully take over Taiwan. Taiwan became an independent country. And over the next few decades, Taiwan actually became a democracy and became a very free country in which you can actually say what you want in Taiwan. Different political parties can run. There is really no censorship in Taiwan. But China does not recognize Taiwan's independence as a independent country, and they threatened to invade them several times. So simply saying the words Hong Kong or Taiwan, they see that as jeopardizing the sovereignty and unification of the People's Republic of China. Now let's read through some of the other things. Damages the honor and interests of the People's Republic of China. Violates People's Republic of China policies on religion or propagates heresies or superstition. Now about religion. The Chinese government does not really respect the freedom of religion. They claim they do, but religious groups are heavily persecuted in mainland China. Now, the Chinese government claims that it's state atheist. They claim that the religion of the state is atheism. I don't want to get into a religious discussion here, but religions are massively discriminated in mainland China. Muslims in the far western part of China are heavily discriminated. Buddhists are heavily discriminated. Christians are heavily discriminated. So many different religious groups are really discriminated in mainland China. And a lot of communist governments, they have stated that they respect freedom of religion, but pretty much every single communist government out there has discriminated against religions and treated religions very poorly. My parents grew up in communist Poland, and the exact same thing happened, where the government of Poland said, oh, we respect the right of freedom of religion, but yet they constantly went after different religious groups. Disseminate rumors, disrupt social order, or undermine social stability. Disseminates obscenity, pornography, gambling, violence, or instigates others to commit crimes. Pretty much everybody is against obscenity, pornography, gambling, violence, or crimes. Is prohibited by the People's Republic of China's laws, administrative regulations, and other provisions. Now, it's just disgusting that this is being brought into PlayStation Hong Kong. Now, here's the real question. Is Sony responsible for this, or are they being forced to do this by the Chinese Communist Party? That's the real question, because Sony has not commented on this. Now, Hong Kong is meant to be more of an autonomous zone, so technically the Chinese government should not have the right to do something like this. But on the other hand, they might have forced Sony to do this, telling them that if you don't put this on PlayStation Hong Kong, then we are going to cancel your services in mainland China. That is what might have happened. And I remember a few months ago, I made a video about this. The PlayStation Store in mainland China. What happens is there's very few games on the store because everything has to be approved by the Communist Party. The Communist Party controls pretty much what games can be put on, what games are not allowed. So very few games are actually allowed on. But people have actually found backdoor ways in order to access the larger PlayStation Store and be able to download other games. And ever since that happened, Sony shut down the PlayStation Store in order to patch those backdoors so that people could only play the games that the state approved for them. So the government of China has interfered in PlayStation before. And they're probably forcing Sony to do something here. Sony's probably not going to comment on this. Sony has been very silent on this, but disgusting that an authoritarian government can do something like this. But here's something that really scares me, guys, and this is actually on the PlayStation Hong Kong Terms of Service website, and I will link this down below for you guys also. But look at this here. It says right below all these new rules. It says unless otherwise required by applicable law, there is no requirement or expectation that Sony Interactive Entertainment will monitor or record any activity on PSN, including communications. So unless required by law, they will not record. However, Sony Interactive Inc. reserves the right to monitor and record any online activity on PSN and give Sony Interactive Entertainment Inc. your express consent to record all of your activities on PlayStation. Sony reserves the right to remove any content from anywhere on PSN at Sony's sole discretion without notice. So that tells me right there, they're putting in this little small disclaimer on the bottom that if they want, if they're required by law, they can record your parties. That is just really scary. Imagine that you are living in Hong Kong and you say something against the government of China, you criticize the government of China, you get reported. Is Sony forced to give this over to the authorities in China if you simply just criticize the government of China? That is just scary. And I feel so bad for people that have to go through this. I feel so bad for people in Hong Kong. I feel so bad for people in other parts of mainland China that have to go through this. Everybody should unite and be against this. No matter what political affiliation you are, no matter what religion you are, everybody should be against this. This is an authoritarian state trying to force its way on PlayStation. It's absolutely disgusting. And I'll say this to wrap up my video. What disgusts me the most about this is that there are major gaming news media outlets who are not talking about this. Where is IGN? Where is GameSpot? Where is Kotaku? Why are they not talking about this? This is real. This is not fake. This is real. This happened. Why are they not talking about this? Why are these gaming news media outlets choosing to ignore this? Why are they ignoring this? You know why they're ignoring this? Because they're scared that if they criticize the Chinese government, that the Chinese government will ban all their business in mainland China. And Google has been banned in China, Facebook has been banned, YouTube has been banned, and IGN, Kotaku, and GameSpot are probably scared, if they're not already banned, that they will be banned if they criticize the Chinese Communist Party. It's just disgusting that there's so many of these media outlets that just refuse to comment at all about what goes on there. But let me know what you guys think down below of this. If you guys enjoyed my video, drop a like, and if you're new to my channel, join, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.